And now for our feature presentation.
This is great because on the back it actually says this film is also known as
the I'll Watch It Later podcast.
You ever heard of that film?
And now, on with the show.
Hey everybody, and welcome to I'll Watch It Later podcast.
Are you dead?
Yeah.
Aaron.
Why did you?
Aaron.
Well, I don't have a D at the end of my
You always say it.
No,
When you pronounce it, you always say it. You always say, I'm Aaron.
I don't have a D at the end of my.
You have a D in your pants.
A D for that old lady.
You ready?
Yes, go.
Okay. Hello,
3, 2, 1, and
Hello, everybody, and welcome to I'll Watch It Later podcast, the podcast where we lie about the movies we've seen to our friends. As always, I'm Aaron, joined by my best friend, Jordan.
hello.
And my acquaintance and brother-in-law and somewhat producer, Scott.
Yes.
Eventually, it's going to devolve to and I do it with these two idiots.
No,
he's
no.
not even friends anymore.
No. Just Scott is
Just Scott.
annoying.
Not sharing those checks I get in the mail.
You don't get any checks in the
Neither
mail.
do we.
All right. So, a couple of programming things up top of the show. Today we are discussing Jordan's movie, and then Scott is going to pick a movie. However, next week is going to be a little bit different. We are going to be celebrating Hollywood. We are going to be doing an Oscar show.
It's about time.
That is going to be our show for next week. It's going to be a complete Oscar show. Me and Jordan have seen a lot of the films, not all of them, and you're like, oh, Aaron, with a D for some reason. You guys haven't even seen all the movies. How can you talk about Oscars? Well, it's Oscar season, baby. You know, it's fun. It's fun to do. I've seen most of them. I think I'm missing 2. You're missing a few. Scott's seen, I think, 2. And
catch up. I've got a week.
Yeah, it's just going to be a fun discussion.
More than usual.
I was going to say.
And then
curve.
we'll come back with Scott's movie, and then you'll get your snack show, and then we're going to move into a theme month, which we'll discuss on next week's show. So just want to get that out of the way in case you're like, what's going on next week? We don't have Scott's movie, and it's like it's Scott's
What
movie.
everybody's waiting for. I went ahead and I sacrificed my week so that you guys could talk about your fucking Oscar movies.
Scott,
true.
you don't even know what movie you want. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's important.
It's very important. It's my week.
Before we get into the meat, as always, have you guys watched anything this week?
I'm going to defer to Scott because I've watched a lot.
Me too.
There's things we need to discuss.
Well, you might as well jump into it then, because
I haven't seen nothing on Scott.
I ain't seen
Movies
shit.
elude me. I do a movie
I mean,
show.
other
I
than-
don't
We
watched the
watch
one
any
last
movies.
night.
other than the movie we went to last night, I mean, I watched our movie for this week, and I think that was it.
All right,
That's
so
kind of
my
what I
week.
figured.
So for me, yes, we watched X last night in the movie theater. We'll talk about that in a minute. I got around to rewatching after watching the first 15 minutes and hating it. I rewatched today Turning Red, the Pixar movie / Studio Ghibli type movie / it should have been an anime, but that's pretty cool.
I didn't think it was very Studio Ghibli.
I think the premise of it was kind of Studio Ghibli, turning into a panda thing. Like I would see that almost being a very Studio Ghibli-esque type storyline in the
I thought
movie.
it was Teen Wolf.
But yeah, that's what that was going to go into. Is like when you said Teen Wolf, I'm like, yep, that's exactly what this is. It's Teen Wolf. It's the family's got the panda thing, and I, after not liking it last week when we kind of put it on, and I was just like turned off by just the way it was at the beginning. I didn't like it, and then I moved past it. I rewatched it, and I actually found myself really enjoying this movie, like more than I anticipated actually liking it.
So actually, exactly the same thing. I think we just headspace. We weren't in the headspace last week to watch it. We were having pizza. We were all sitting around talking, and we threw it on. And the girl was really annoying, and I just was like, "Fuck this." And the next day, I woke up and I threw it on for my kid.
Put
and
on
it was-
his makeup.
yeah.
Go ahead.
You-
Make
you wanted
me
to.
over.
Anyways, God, well, he doesn't even understand the bit.
I understood it.
Oh, did you?
I went with my own.
Did you? You did? Did you?
Yeah.
You're
Switch
From a
bits.
musical.
just like
Say
you.
a little prayer for you.
Just
yeah,
like
fuck off.
just like you, garbage. Anyways.
Wow. Wait, we're not talking about X yet.
Oh, that's you.
I liked it.
No, yeah,
Anyway,
that's
keep going.
true.
Turning Red.
Anyways, so I put it on for my kid. He absolutely loved it. I loved it. My wife loved it. We all loved it. It was very enjoyable. I thought it was a good allegory for hormones and, what's that thing called? Puberty. So.
Yeah, I think part of it's that, and part of it's I think it's just relationships between parents and kids, especially like in traditional families, like in a Chinese family where it's like very matriarchal, very, you got to stay in line, you got to do things to please the family and please the parents, and finding your own way in life. And especially as time gets on and society changes a bit, like she's growing up in Toronto, she's not growing up in China, so like the idea that she's going to be a little bit different than the way her family was and stuff like that. I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I was very surprised. Like, I found myself actually laughing at a few bits, kind of like later on.
Yeah.
And the whole boy band thing was actually really funny. And almost made me, it reminded me of that MTV boy band that they did. What was it? Into You or something like that?
Oh, my calculus.
Yeah, it was like me plus you equals calculus. Like, I kept like thinking about that. And I'm just like kind of laughing to myself. So it was really funny.
In Together. And it was,
no, it was like,
Into
yeah.
Two, and then Together. And I love them. I used to listen to them all the time.
It was so stupid. It was like a dumb bit, but it was perfect.
The hardest part of breaking up is getting back your stuff. Anyways, this is very 90s kind of. No one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. But, dude, yeah, I liked Four Town. Why are they called Four Town?
There's five of them. I made that joke, and then the woman said it like right after. I'm like, oh my god, I'm the old woman.
But yeah, I thought the animation was real good. I thought the characters were excellent. I liked the voice acting a lot. A lot of those characters,
yeah.
You'll recognize if you look it up on IMDb. And I gave it.
Well, like the old man was James Hong, like, and that I love that dude. Like, he is like the quintessential like Chinese actor in everything, and he was in Big Trouble in Little China as Lo Pan, and just like you've seen him everywhere, and I loved it. And the second I heard his voice, I'm like, oh, that's Hollywood favorite James Hong, and it's like it just made me so happy. And then
now I want some Lo Pan.
I know, right? I want some Mugu Gai Pan. But the grandma was the old woman from the Defenders and all the Marvel Netflix movies that now are on Disney Plus. So it's like it was kind of neat to see some of these actors that I recognize their voices, and I'm like, oh, I know who that is. And like I said, I enjoyed it a lot more. I think it's about 3.5, maybe 4. Yeah, it's up there.
I gave it a 4. I would definitely watch it again. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I have noticed this trend where Pixar has decided, instead of telling traditional stories of good guys and bad guys, they're just telling stories about growing up. And I think that's why they're kind of hitting a little harder now, especially like, in my older age.
What if teenage girls had feelings?
Remember
this is
puberty?
What it would be like. Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck.
Did you watch anything else? You said you watched a lot, so.
I watched Little Giants.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
Put it on the table.
So he asked me this in the movie last night, and I was kind of... when I told you guys I was watching it, you're like, oh my god. And then I made a joke at the beginning because it was like, oh, the fat kid eats food. Oh, that's his thing. Oh, that's funny, like every other stupid movie. And then he's like, it's a goddamn treasure. You're like, shut up. Don't try to shit on this movie. So I kept my opinion about it kind of quiet, and no one asked me. I'm surprised no one that day asked me, so what'd you think? What'd you like?
About it on Saturday.
Right. And then, like, we went to the movie last night, and you're like, hey, so what'd you think? And I skirted the issue so I wouldn't discuss it with you because I wanted to bring it here.
Here we go.
I do it all the time.
Here we go.
I'm going to say I didn't hate the movie.
Okay.
But it's not, I think, as impactful to me as I think maybe it is to you guys. I thought it was funny. There were moments that I found myself chuckling. There's some moments where it feels very dated. And I'm just like, okay, this is a cute movie. Like, I can see maybe showing my kids this, but
it's just a good-hearted movie.
It did feel very good-hearted. It was weird to see, what's his face, Al Bundy,
Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill in that role, because it felt like it was just a prequel to Married with Children, where he's reliving his football days, and that's all he talks about is how he won this and how he did this. You're running a car dealership in your hometown. You haven't done anything anymore. Like, you're riding the coattails of your past.
Yes, that's the whole point.
Well, I know,
movie.
but and then that's which is what it made. Well, because then I think of how Al Bundy always talked about how he was in the big
days.
game and stuff like that. So it was a little hard for me to move past that for a minute, but I really, really, I like the character. I think I found a lot of the adult characters a lot more compelling now watching it than some of the kids. it was very like everyone had their little stereotypical roles. It was kind of neat to see some actors that I recognize back like for now, like the mom of Junior was actually the mom in the Arrow TV show. But I've seen her only in Arrow, so like to see her younger in like 1994 was like weird. I'm like, oh my god, I know her, and so then you kind of recognize people and stuff like that. And I think the story was cute. It was kind of predictable. I knew it was kind of gonna happen, and you know.
Oh, it's totally predictable.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but I think you're completely missing the point because the movie. Stop. Let me explain, and then you can shit on me. But stop looking at him. Just look at me. We're talking. So
look at me. I am the captain now.
The point is that they don't want to end up like Ed O'Neill in that film. That Rick Moranis is like, yes, we're going to win this game, but there's more to life than football, and we got this bet going, and all that stuff. And it's like the kid, he does the right thing at the end, and it's supposed to teach you like a lesson, and it's not about football. I mean, it is.
Wait, who
but it's
was
more
the
about
kid that did the right thing? Was it Spike?
His son. The son, he's like, at the end, I think he like hurts him or something, and hurts somebody. It's been a minute since I've seen this, and he's like,
well, yeah, no, the military
Dad,
guy's
I'm
son's
not going to fucking be like this anymore.
Well,
and
it's not so much that. I there were parts that actually kind of really frustrated the shit out of me, where Icebox is pissed off that her dad was treating her a certain way, but this was like her choice. And then they even bring it up where she was like, she starts the team, she wants to do all this shit, and then he's like, it was your idea for me to do this. Like, why are you pissed off at me for wanting to win? And she, having her hormonal issues.
It was about growing up. But all I'm saying is just like it's as weird as this is going to sound. It's like I didn't have like great parents, so these are the things that taught me like morals and shit as a kid.
But then that's why you connect with this more than I did.
I guess, man. I really love that movie.
I'm not saying it's bad. I really this sounds like I'm talking negative about it. I'm not. It's a cute movie. It's up there with like a Mighty Ducks for me, where it's like
right.
I can probably maybe watch it again with the kids. It's there. It's good, but is it life changing? I think I'm past that point for it to be life changing for me.
I never said it was life changing.
Well, apparently it was your parents. So
all those movies were my parents.
That's why you're the way you
are. Instead of raised by wolves, he was raised by VHS
Disney films. Yeah.
But no, I thought it was cute. Like I'm glad I finally watched it. I'm not saying it. Like I said, I'm not trying to shit on this movie, and I feel like if I'm not talking about it like it's the God's gift to football movies, that you're gonna feel like I'm shitting on it. I'm not.
No,
it was cute.
I don't even care about the football aspect of it. I just think it's all the stuff that surrounds that, like the bet. Like they have the bet, and then they're the Cowboys and the Giants. I think that's all cool and stuff, but I think it's all just the story.
It's got a very, I mean, after 40 years of watching movies, it's very predictable. Like I'm like, oh no, this is happening, they're gonna break up, they're all pissed off, and oh look, fucking John Madden shows up.
Right.
Like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
And then so I mean it follows the beats of pretty much every 90s movie that I've ever watched, and it didn't turn me off of the movie. I just feel like I've seen a lot of what they showed me. It was funny. Like, it had really some funny moments. But like I said, it's not as highly revered to me as it is to you, and that's not saying that it's a bad movie. It's just, for me, it affects me differently than it does you. But I thought it was good.
And it's probably coming from a standpoint when we revisit movies that people hold near and dear when they were growing up, or things that you saw as a child, or even as like a teenager or something. Sometimes it never hits the older you are, and if you're watching it for the first time. So, I mean, I understand that, where you go back and you revisit something, and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking, man?
There are movies
this is
like that.
okay.
I have absolutely done that.
Yeah. I mean, so I get it. It's not. It's going to be hard for somebody, in their 50s who is.
Why are you pointing at me?
I don't know.
Need to, like,
I'm just
make
saying.
out or something.
I'm just saying. It's, somebody who is just visiting it now. Is when somebody like us, or even Aaron. Aaron was probably a lot younger than me when he saw it. So I mean,
I remember watching it like every summer.
I remember the trailers. Like, there are parts of this movie where, like, I remember,
where
like, he's putting the jock strap on his face, or he's pulling up next to him on the goat cart. Yep. Like, those are moments that were in the trailer that I do remember seeing back in the 90s. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I've seen it, but I haven't. For me, one of those things where someone talks up a movie so much, and it's not just you. I've had other people tell me, "Oh, Little Giants is great. Little Giants was great." Again, it may have been, well, Little Giants was great to you in the 90s or, maybe a little bit later when you saw it, but Little Giants now is an okay movie. It's good, but it's not life-changing as if, people were like, oh my God, it's the greatest movie. And everyone has a different part of that they enjoy. Like, some people are like, oh my God, I loved Devon Sawa growing up. Like, I brought this up in a Discord chat, and people are like, oh my God, Devon Sawa, he was so young. And I'm like, okay, great. Final Destination for me, whatever. Idle Hands, there are better Devon Sawa shit, but it is neat to see people younger. Like, this is, I think, coming off right after, either after or right before he did Casper. So it's like I remember Devon Sawa younger, but I didn't grow up a girl, idolizing him as this heartthrob. So
SLC
I mean,
Punk, dude, what the fuck? Have you seen SLC Punk?
Yes.
Okay.
We even talked to Matthew Lillard about it.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
In fact, I used to work at Hollywood Video when it came out, and I would watch that tape like crazy. And then I got my brother into it, and he I think, ran that tape to
Have you seen it?
Dust.
Are you sure?
I have seen SLC Punk.
They made a sequel, and it was not
No, they didn't.
I thought they.
I mean, they did.
Okay,
but they-
I'm like, wait, no, I'm sure they did. No, it sucked.
Nope, they did not.
not to my.
Not in my house.
Yeah, not in my house. They did.
I just got here, man, and it is not a sequel.
I'll never
just
own it. I'll
moved
never
in.
see it. 100% of my movies.
I happened to catch No Exit. I finally watched it on Hulu. I was up really one morning, and I was like,
Is that Steven Seagal?
no,
I'm thinking of a
Exit?
different one.
No, it's a newer movie.
I'm thinking Exit Wounds.
There's really no one you've ever heard about this except the Allstate guy is in it. But it's been a
Dennis
topic.
Haysbert?
Yeah, it's been a topic of conversation. A lot of people, it's Dennis Haysbert, that's his name.
I know.
It's Havana Rose Lou is in it. Dale
No idea who
Dickey's
that
in it.
is.
Yeah, it's nobody you've ever heard of, but apparently this movie's been getting a lot of run online. So, I checked it out. It was completely worthless to me. I did not like it at all.
What's it about?
It's about this girl who kind of gets trapped inside a
Panda Bear.
yeah. She gets trapped inside this
All our movies are crossing.
I don't know, like welcome center because she gets snowed in. Something happened to her mom, and she's going to visit her mom,
okay.
and then it's supposed to be this amazing. I guess the book is really good, and everybody was jerking off that this movie was coming out.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
Did you see it?
No,
Is
I'm
that
just
what it
saying,
is?
is this like a Hallmark movie?
No.
Okay, because the way
no.
it's being described is that she's trapped in this place, and now like bank
Her
robbers and
and
murderers
this-
are coming.
Her and this
or
other
something.
guy, and they fall in love, and they have this
No.
magical romance.
Are you done? Okay, so she's in this like welcome center thing because it's snowed out. She finds out that there's a girl that's been kidnapped in a vehicle outside,
Gotcha.
and then it's like shit happens. But it's so fucking predictable. It's so predictable, and it's so like it becomes this like cat and mouse game towards the end, and it's just like, okay, I knew that was gonna happen. Oh, there's a twist. Also, there's like a TikTok dance in it, and I was
I
just
hate that shit.
yeah, it was just really bad. So if you're thinking about if you're out there and you're thinking about watching No Exit, I highly recommend you find something
Where did you
else.
see this on?
Hulu,
Okay.
and they've been kind of killing it with their movies. Like I guess that Deep Water came out. I'm gonna check that out.
Oh, the Ben Affleck movie that's getting like 30-40%.
Is it? Oh, okay.
It's getting run.
Oh,
Like I hate. It was supposed to come out.
I
in
like
the
Ben
theater.
Affleck. I'll actually watch it.
It was supposed to come out in the theater a couple months ago, and then like literally last minute they pulled it from release, and it just kind of disappeared. And then
maybe because it was bad.
Maybe. I know it's like Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas. This is at the height
looked
of
like-
when they were like dating, and then like they broke up, and then he started getting with J-Lo again, and then all of a sudden the movie gets pulled. So I thought maybe
It
it was
looked
just
a lot like Gone Girl to me.
maybe.
But anyways, No Exit. Don't watch that movie, or watch it and then be like, oh,
Yeah, watch Exit Wounds instead. That's a way better movie.
who's that with?
I think that's Steven Seagal or like DMX or something like that. It's one of those
yeah.
around that time
That's
where
what I
like
thought.
rappers were making a ton
Was
of movies.
Jet Li in that?
No, I don't think Jet Li was in that one.
Are you sure?
I mean, you
All
can check
those
your phone,
movies-
but we don't have another hour and a
All
half.
all the movies sound exactly the same.
They really do.
Exit Wounds.
I think it's
You're right.
Steven
Steven
Seagal.
Seagal, DMX, Anthony Anderson, Tom Arnold,
That was right on.
Isaiah
Arnold.
Washington, Michael Jai White.
I'm telling you, man, they just
Kind of want to watch
interchange-
that now.
Yeah, no, they interchanged people. Like it was around the time where Jet Li was doing like Romeo Must Die. I know DMX had done a good couple of movies. Ja Rule was in a bunch. Like they just threw in all these different.
Are you a
weird
90s
movies.
rapper? Be in a movie.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
So,
But yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to think of anything else I saw before getting to the movie. I watched the second season of Upload.
I haven't watched. I've only watched the first episode, so
it's really good.
Okay.
Like you got to get past. It's short. It's like 30-minute episodes. I think eight episodes per season. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people that listen. to this shit.
Well, they should know that Upload's out, and this is a movie show, not a
shut up,
not a TV show podcast.
I'm just saying. You want to know what I'm watching. This is what influences me. I'm watching.
Influences you to be what? A dork? Watch movies.
We're sitting in a room, literally wall-to-wall movies he's never watched.
I've watched
and
a
I'm
lot of these movies.
and TV series.
He just moved in.
This is less than 1% of my movies.
Oh, movie-wise, I almost watched The Curse, the one I brought up the other day. I threw it on, and
I'm gonna
I
watch
stopped
it
because we ended up going to see the movie earlier, and I don't know. I'll revisit it. It's getting good reviews, but then I don't trust it.
I heard it was at a film festival. It got great reviews, and that it was actually named something different. And then
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
apparently it's very similar, and apparently it's really good. So I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's got this guy Boyd Holbrook. He was like the main antagonist in I think the Wolverine. Not the Wolverine, but Logan.
I thought you were gonna say Upload.
No, no, that's Robbie Amell.
I know.
But I kind of want to see that, and then I'm trying to think. There's something else I kind of want to watch. I mean,
I
this
want to
week's
watch
literally going to be.
I want to watch Windfall really bad, so we'll definitely be discussing that soon.
Which one's that one?
Jason Segel, Jesse Plemons. He's like a
Matt Damon.
Yeah. He's like a he's like a waterhead, Matt Damon. No, he's like a tech influencer guy, and Jason Segel is like a thief. He breaks into their like summer home, and I guess Jesse Plemons is having like problems with his wife, and they decide to vacation up there. And while Jason Segel's breaking in, they kind of show up, and I guess apparently it's phenomenal. So I'm really
that
excited.
reminds me of that what was it, Harrison Ford movie where it was all
Air Force
tech
One?
shit. No. Interchange all of them. No, there was like some techie like when
What
the internet
Lies
was
Beneath?
No, that was a good movie though. That was kind of one of those plots that kind of sound like that Harrison Ford movie where he it's like it was more techie where like the internet was really starting to blow up. God, I really wish I remembered that.
Sorry,
I'll think of it.
I mean, you have a phone.
I'm not going to do it. I want to rely on my smarts and not.
Lily Collins is also in it, and it's literally the only cast is Lily Collins, Jesse Plemons, and Jason Segel, and it's supposed to be really good. According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's not, but according to other people, I guess it is.
All right.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's not.
No. Oh shit. My bad.
So,
we'll cut this out.
I'm definitely going to check it out though.
But yeah, and then the other thing we all collectively saw Ty West's.
You want to do that after Alligator?
Why?
Because I don't know. We talked about Batman after Alligator.
Yeah, Batman's a movie I don't want to ruin for people. I can care less about X. I'm just kidding.
There was like 6 people in the theater.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I like when it's weird because it was such little amount of people in there. It was like us, like 2 people, I think to my right, and 2 people in front of us. There may have been someone behind us.
I think there was. Yeah.
And it's so quiet throughout the movie that everyone could hear everyone's little side conversations. And then, not to sound stereotypical, I think they were white, but the couple in front of us was almost like the typical like black couple,
Don't
where it's
go
like
in
the woman
there.
was like, "Girl, don't go in there, don't go." I'm
right.
just like laughing so hard. Like half the time, I'm laughing at like how she's reacting to like
it was
what's
scary
going
movie.
on. Yeah, it was.
It was a scary movie.
I got you. I'm
Don't
watching
go in there.
I'm watching Shakespeare in Love. But yeah, it was one of those situations.
Just do a black voice.
Yeah, we'll roll. I'll dub it later. It'll be like Shakespeare in Love. I'll do more. I'll do my white voice later.
Oh, that is funny.
Right.
Yeah, we did. We saw Ty West X. This is an A24 feature that is unlike any A24 movie you've seen. For once in our lives, it doesn't end with them looking into the camera, succumbing to the darkness that is happening.
No, we succumbed to the darkness.
It was
The real enemy was people.
yeah. It was the friends we made along the way. It was, to me, it was fucking excellent. I loved everything. There's a ton of homages in it. I love when Ty West does horror. I loved House of the Devil. Fuck you guys. Don't care.
Tune into last week's show where we discuss House of the Devil.
I thought that this was a great slasher film that just kind of came out of nowhere. Slasher, supernatural, I don't know what you want to call it. Fucking, it was so much fun. It's about they're going to make a porno. It's 1979. It's like a grindhouse exploitation film. That kind of just
it's more Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Or even
Which
like
is
even Hills Have Eyes. Like,
but that's considered slasher.
I don't know. Like for me, I think slasher movies. I think like Nightmare on Elm Street. I think like the Halloween movies. Even like Friday the 13th,
which it had homages.
Which
to.
it definitely had a few moments. I mean, just because I knew that pitchfork was coming. Like
Right.
I'm just like, oh man, that guy's losing an eye.
The first guy dies by getting a fucking knife in his neck,
Right,
multiple times.
Good. Fuck him.
You know, no one dies any crazy supernatural way. There's axes. And, you know, yes,
and
it's
that's
very
where you
Texas
think that's-
Chainsaw Massacre. Sorry, I'm talking over you.
No,
but-
that's okay. That's okay. I really did like this movie. I wouldn't say it's excellent. It definitely is better than the last movie I watched. Fuck
Agree.
you both.
No, I agree. I actually agree.
kidding.
This is better than House of the Devil.
This had that build up that I think House of the Devil to you guys had for me. Like there was a lot of suspenseful moments that were building up to something, and there were moments where I was literally kind of doing that, kind of turn away from the screen, but kind of looking at the same time because I know something's gonna pop out, and it's just one of those. It definitely reminded me of, like I said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre or like Hills Have Eyes. It's very straightforward. It's
a lot of oh shit moments.
There is.
There was oh shit moments in this movie.
This is not a M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie where you think there's going to be some weird fucking twist. No, this is just a fucking old lady killing people. And I turned to Aaron at one point going, I'm really happy that this movie is going to be like 90 minutes of a 90-year-old killing everybody.
Yeah.
Like these are all like people in their, early 30s and late 20s trying to film a porno, and this woman, I swear to God, is pushing 100, and she is straight up just,
However,
I'm going to hug you. Just kidding, stab in the neck. And like there are just
Here we go.
there are just moments
I'm into the concept. And again, I expressed this last night, and I'm just going to say it on air, is that I hate when we put prosthetics on people to play old people, because it is like somebody acting like an old person, and it took me out of the element because I knew it was a younger person acting like an old person.
It did feel that way in certain moments. There are
I
some moments.
absolutely no problem with it.
I think the part is when she spoke, like when she,
Oh,
like the
Sonny.
prosthetics and the makeup was well enough where if she were just kind of standing creepily there, or there was those shots where you're like in the van looking out at her, those were creepy. Those I felt like she was a 90-year-old woman, like hair coming out, kind of weird. It's when she spoke. I did feel like, okay, she's doing that old voice,
Yep, the old voice.
Werther's Originals kind of like voice, and it wasn't as apparent with me with the old man as it was with her, and it's because the actress Mia Goth was playing two roles. She was playing the old woman, and she was playing one of the younger porn stars. So she was trying to feel like she's old.
Yeah.
It didn't come across as well. Like the older man, we looked up the actor. He is probably in his 40s, maybe 50s, but he is playing like a 90-year-old man. He sold it a little bit better for me. I think his prosthetics and his makeup looked worse than hers. There were a lot of moments where you don't see him. Like there are very quick glances. There are distant shots. There are in the dark shots. It's when later on, what was it, Kid Cudi? Shines the flashlight in his face where you really notice, this is prosthetics. This isn't what he looks like. And it's just because they, put the big, cheekbones on there to kind of make his face look a little more sallow and his eyes kind of deep and stuff like that.
Sallow.
Yeah, you're welcome. It felt his prosthetics, I think, lose the effectiveness in the light, whereas hers was, I think, a lot better. It's just her voice didn't really match up with the face.
Yeah, they almost could have. She could have very well not spoken through the whole movie.
I thought that,
and I would have
great.
probably been fine with that. It was the voice just threw me off. That's all I'm saying. It was,
Right.
It was
I
just,
think
it
you would have
kinda-
lost a lot of story that way, though, because it was definitely, you needed her to explain how she wanted to be young. She missed her youth. She was kind of a slut in the 1918 and 1920s, apparently. So, like, you lose some of that backstory if she were just to be that silent protagonist or antagonist. But I still, despite that little gripe, I really did enjoy this movie a lot more than I thought I was. And because of House of the Devil, and I know you liked it, for me, it kind of left I don't know what to expect from this director now. And when I went and saw this, I went in with open mind, but I still was kind of hesitant because I
He's
didn't enjoy it.
directed a lot of TV recently. And
Has he?
then, yeah, and then he also has another one called The Innkeepers. It's apparently pretty good. I'm gonna watch it. But there's also another one he directed called like Sanctimonium or something like that. That is also supposed to be really good. I don't know. I haven't seen those films,
Right.
but he's slowly working. I like him a lot. I loved House of the Devil. I really don't care that you guys didn't like
That's
it.
fine.
And then I thought X was incredibly good. I feel like it's going to be a cult hit. It's going to go underground. It's going to be one of those things that everybody references. It's going to fit into the category of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes. I think it's just a fun hangout movie to watch with your friends. You watch these people die. It's 70s. It feels like the 70s. Everything. The music in it's really good.
Yeah.
Brittany Snow's good. Everyone in this movie is very good, and it's. I would love to see it again to see the parts I missed. Like I get squeamish when people are stepping on nails and shit.
Oh God!
And, you know-
that part was worse for me than the neck stabbing part.
Yeah,
because that old woman was laying into that dude. I thought she was going to cut his head off, but him stepping on that nail gave me that Quiet Place vibe where she steps on the nail, and I just that's something I can relate to because
Yeah.
I can't relate to someone getting their neck stabbed and cut
Right.
off. Like, okay, I can take myself away from it. I can feel myself stepping on something like that.
Yeah.
Like I've stepped on Legos or stung by a bee on the ground or something like that, and it hurts. I could just like the thought of a giant
know.
fucking 4-inch rusty nail going into your foot just wigs me out, and it was probably the cringiest moment other than one of the sex scenes. Yeah, what I was saying earlier is that he's definitely gets better as he's directed.
Yes.
House of the Devil felt infinitely different than this movie.
Absolutely.
The genre's a little bit different. I think he's got a good wheelhouse that he can stay in and a nice lane he can stay in. I think his movies are very straightforward. What you see is what you get. There's no underlying tone to it. There's no message. That's not this typical A24, which society's the
I
devil.
fucking love.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there are no, like I said, that's not a M. Night Shyamalan twist to it where it's like, oh, she was like a witch. You know what I mean? Like, or
She
look,
was a witch that summoned
or this
them
is
there.
a simulation. Now, part of me went into it thinking it could be that.
Me too.
And me and Scott both thought different things that were going to happen that never paid off. That's kind of on us. It's not so much the movie's fault, but
I think you
it's
just go into
very
that movie
straightforward.
overthinking it.
Yeah, and that's the problem is they've taught us now these woke horror movies, or what are they calling?
They're called
Elevated
fucking
horror.
elevated horror, where
Yeah,
it's like I mean, some of them are. Where it's like the elevated horror makes you feel like there's got to be some other thing happening
Right.
instead of some straightforward
Fucking
story.
aliens at the end or some stuff.
Yeah, well, I always
Exactly.
reference The Lighthouse, which is
Jordan
probably
Peele.
one of my favorite movies of all
love The
time. But
Lighthouse.
at the end, he comes to the darkness and just stares into the camera. There's really no fucking, like, there's no resolution to anything. Nothing good happens, and you know this has a resolution. Something good happens.
It did have a slight, tiny twist at the end where it's like, oh, you picked up on, oh, okay, they've been
that
throwing-
apparently fucking Scott got right
good
from the
for
first
him.
scene because he's the master of movie knowledge.
No, I mean, again, like I said, I assumed when I probably about halfway through, I was like, all right, I kind of know where this is going to go now. I wanted it to have I was thinking it was going to have that smart twist.
right.
And I was like, okay, the old lady's going to her and the husband are just going to murder everybody. This is going to become Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was kind of anticipating that there was going to be some kind of a deviant ending to this where, something happened. And yeah, you don't see the twist at the end. You do if you pick up on the things that are said through the movie.
Dialogue, yeah.
It
definitely plays
it
a
does. You go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I thought the payoff would have been... So my thought was, if this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre or this is A Hills Have Eyes, the basement payoff, when the cop... At the beginning, the movie starts off at the end of the movie where it's like the cops come into this fucking bloodbath. And they go into the basement and they're like, oh, dear God. And then they cut to the beginning of the movie, which is, you see the porn stars. They're all getting in the van. They're going to the...
Was it
to the
12 hours
location.
earlier or something
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that?
24.
Was it 24?
And for me, it was, oh shit, they have like a deformed son down there, and he's the one
Yeah.
killing, or there's somebody,
I mean,
and like
the basement reveal was pretty fucked up.
it is, but it didn't have a huge impact.
Yeah, it wasn't like...
In fact, it almost like felt like
Well,
there
it
was
was
really
like-
no impact on the story.
But they kind of spoiled it before that because then you see the car. And you're
in the
like,
water,
and
yeah.
then they show the guy. You're like, oh, okay, so they did this once before.
Yeah, so this is their thing.
It's probably it's a
Fucking Airbnb gone to hell.
Anyways, I highly recommend it. It's probably one of my favorite horror movies of the year so far. It might go on the list at the end of the year. I don't know. I personally, I want to see it again. I can't wait to own it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
So
I enjoyed it. I do suggest seeing it too.
I hope all my friends who listen to this
We're
go
here
out and watch it.
We saw it with you.
Yep, we all saw it.
Fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
we were there,
All
man.
your friends
Fuck
saw
you
it.
guys. I'm going home. Anyways.
Good, you made it.
All right. So we watched a movie for Jordan this week. What movie did we watch, Jordan?
We watched the Robert Forster 1980s Jaws remake, Alligator.
It lives 50 feet beneath the streets. It's 36 feet long. It weighs over 2,000 pounds. And it's about to break out.
You're looking at the one who saw it. And it was big.
You said it was dark. Now, perhaps you were mistaken. An alligator half that size would starve in a week.
He kept coming up with some garbage about alligators in the sewers.
Alligators in the sewers?
Once it escaped, there was no way to stop it.
The safety of the public is my job.
It could be anywhere.
There he is.
Ready to attack at any moment.
You know, I've seen what this animal can do. You'd better take all the help you can get.
Keep coming. At first, no one believed it. Now, no one will forget it. Alligator.
It's funny you say Jaws remake because it's actually I was doing a bunch of reading last night afterwards, and it's a Jawsploitation movie, which is apparently a real category of film. Where after Jaws, they came out with a bunch of movies that simulated Jaws, and I did feel as I was watching this very Jaws-like.
Mm-hmm.
However, I fucking loved this movie because for two reasons. It was campy as hell. The alligator was crazy. But Robert
so many things to talk about.
Forster played his character so fucking straight.
This was a gritty, 70s cop movie.
Yes, he was like, I gotta get this alligator. You're too close to the case. He was like kind of like a
You're off the case, McGonagall.
Dude, that fucking guy, dude. I want to watch more of his movies.
Oh my god!
You ruffled too many feathers.
Yeah,
fucking eyebrows sticking straight up.
Looks like a Muppet.
By the way, and I love the fact that they could not find this alligator.
They have things 40 feet long.
Apparently, the alligator could find everyone else. Like,
it was a ninja.
It was. Oh, I loved it. I would watch it again right now. Like,
Honestly, I ordered Alligator 2: The Mutation. I know it's a separate movie.
I heard it's terrible.
I watched it. I don't care. I watched the trailer. The trailer sold me. It's literally almost beat for beat the same movie, except they have this weird gangster subplot where it's like coke dealers in Cuba.
It's almost like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, where it
looks so ridiculous that I'm excited to watch that one. But yes, honestly, I'm gonna crack open the 4K that we have. I'm gonna watch the made-for-TV version that's on the Blu-ray, and I'm gonna really deep dive. And I really enjoyed this movie, and I was scared to when you were gonna watch it because you hadn't watched it last night after the movie. So I'm sitting there going, okay, he's gonna shit on this. Like, he's not gonna like this. And then within 15 minutes of starting it, you sent a text like, Alligator is great.
Have you not learned yet?
No,
that
you hate
I
everything.
do not show my cards to you at all during the week.
It's true.
I love to fucking just push you off on another road
Love
because it pisses you off.
Well, why do you want to
so
piss me
fucking
off
bad?
so much?
Because
It's
it's
good radio.
fucking fun. It is
such
super
good radio.
fun.
It is not fun for me.
It's the
It is
bug incident
super
from last
fucking
night.
Might
fun.
be fun for you, but it is
Because
not fun for
you want to spoil everything for yourself.
No, I don't.
You want to know. You
I-
want to know beforehand.
Here's the deal. We are adults, and we're all. You're both 40. I'm almost 40. I feel like we can have a conversation about something and then turn these mics on and have the same conversation.
But the conversation is better when we haven't talked about it.
I
disagree.
honestly, I could see both ways. I do like when we're kind of lockstep on an opinion and we're all excited about something and we go into it and like we are so fired up to get these mics on and talk about it. But then there are moments, honestly, like last week where I know that you loved something. And I didn't, and I would rather keep it quiet and then just throw that grenade in the middle of the room and just see what happens on the mic. So I could see it both ways. I think Scott does it to an extreme. I think he just likes doing it.
The only reason I accept it from you and not him is because it makes for a good conversation. I
Right.
can respect the fact that you didn't like House of the Devil. I think you're wrong, but that's fine.
I
No big
respect
deal.
you,
And
asshole.
You think I'm wrong, and that's cool.
Right.
When he does it, it's like I'm an old man yelling at a cloud. Like I hated it because I've seen so many horror movies.
I never said I hated it, though.
No, see, actually, Scott had a better opinion about House of the Devil than I did. So
No.
I get your point, but
I did
also
not.
you're wrong, at least in that term. But yeah, I like this movie a lot.
Yeah,
and
it was really good.
for me, knowing that it was like kind of what you said, a Jawsploitation movie, even the music
Yes.
had that same doo-doo, doo-doo, like those same beats. Like if you listen to it, it's Jaws. Chief Brody is in it. You got, the Quint character who comes in and hires black guys to take him around
And then immediately
fucking
dies.
in Missouri, and then gets his fucking ass eaten in a pile of trash
But it was
because
so
the alligator was hiding.
But there was so much satisfaction when he got killed.
Happy. So happy.
It was very,
about
very
that.
Jekyll and Hyde though in the alleyway, and you see the shadow of the alligator in the alleyway pulling back.
He's like, I'm gonna get rolled
You
back.
know,
Come
it's
get
like
me.
I was like, man, this is so Jekyll and Hyde, man. It's like it's just such a page right out of that movie.
All right, so we loved it. Scott, what did you think about it before we get into too much detail?
So here's what I was kind of telling Aaron.
Oh, here it comes.
Here we go. Here's what I was telling Aaron. I go, this is not by any means a great movie. The shots, there's so many things that are you can pick out of it. Like I said, there's a scene where they show a real alligator walking, and you're like,
yeah.
you're like, that's not even the same fucking alligator. That's not even the same fucking thing. I could put that all aside. It's a fun movie to watch.
Absolutely. I would watch it again. Would you watch it again?
This is like Invasion USA. This is not a good movie, but it's a fun movie to watch.
I disagree. I think it's a good movie. I agree that the scale of the alligator is inconsistent.
There was one. Honestly, there was one shot where I felt very Invasion USA, and I almost texted Scott about it when they were trying to do the SWAT team and they were getting out where everyone
On
was
the
gonna.
boats?
No, before the boats,
Oh.
they were getting the SWAT together and they were kind of get on all the exits of the sewer system. And one cop grabbed a bazooka. I'm like, oh, this is Invasion
You know what
USA.
that reminded me of? And I'll say this. I said this last night in the group chat. Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
When every cop has to go to the.
We got to go into the sewer.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
Go into darkness. So the
alligator was
shot
raised
of
you.
the SWAT team emerging from the sewers looked so real that people actually thought they were terrorists, and someone called the police, like during the filming of this film, which I actually loved.
This is how like good and bad this movie is. So the movie opens up in 1968. They're at like a gator farm in probably Louisiana, like down south. And they watch this guy wrestling an alligator, and then the alligator bites the dude in the leg and is wrestling him. The announcer's like, "Hey, we're
sometimes the alligator wins.
Yeah, sometimes the alligator
30
wins."
seconds into the movie, we're
watching an
already
alligator
watching somebody get eaten.
So, funny story is, I have a region-free 4K player out in the living room, and that's what I watch this on. And it kind of controls my TV. So if like somebody touches the remote or it turns on, it automatically switches over and just starts playing whatever disc is in there. It started playing again this morning, and
Parker's like, "What the fuck?"
no, and I was like, I sat down on the couch like, okay, let's watch this again. And, but, he eventually took the controller and turned it off. But I was like, oh, that's fine. But I was just so into it. It was that scene where they're at the alligator farm, and they're like, that's a lot of fake blood. And he's like, it's real, Mom. And I was just like, yes.
Yeah, the little girl's like, "Oh, this, that," and
then you get to the part where you got this turban Indian guy and he's selling alligators, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, there's no.
It's like
No
Gremlins.
fucking way people bought alligators
I'm
back in the
telling you,
day.
man.
Apparently they did.
After watching
absolutely.
Cockfighter, like I believe anything was available in the South at that time because
So
it happened in 1968. So there was zero regulation. They're
Here's
like
your
selling
alligator
alligator.
box.
Here's your box of
Take
alligator.
it home, feed it.
When I lived in Gulfport, Mississippi, actually not when I lived there, but I would go back every summer. There was an alligator farm we'd go to all the time, and they constantly were selling baby alligators.
That's
'Cause
just
they don't-
nuts to
they
me.
don't get as big as
Right.
Whatever.
Well, there's a
movie-
reason why this
the
one got so
strips.
big.
But
So
they're
that's the end
still,
of the
but
story.
they still don't get that big. They're like baby alligators forever. They
I
only
just-
get as big as about a lizard or something.
But
like that.
see, growing up over here, you just don't see like tarantulas and maybe giant scorpions and stuff like that.
I
But
just
like,
thought-
alligator just seemed really off.
Yeah, I just thought
to
I
me.
go, this is the fucking way this guy's selling alligators to people.
So for some reason, plot, I don't know. The dad of this little girl, after they buy the alligator, like gets pissed
really
off at
mad,
it.
yeah.
He walks into the house pissed. Like
Oh.
what? You just came home from work just mad about this alligator.
So I rewound it 3 or 4 times trying to figure out why he did it because I was like, what am I missing?
Well, she says it later in the movie that he was upset because he thought the alligator was dead, and he was upset that she didn't take care of it. She said this.
No, she thought that. They didn't tell her what happened. What happened is that he got pissed off that something the alligator did in the house. First of all, why are you out of the terrarium?
It must have been cut.
Second, so he's super pissed off. The little girl isn't home. The wife's like freaking out. He goes in and flushes the alligator. First of all, strongest toilet I think I've ever seen. I have done a lot of alligator-sized things that take fucking taking forever to flush out. This alligator goes down and flush one.
And just plops into the sewer.
This happens apparently in Chicago, Illinois. Fast forward to 1980, alligators terrorizing, dogs are missing. There's a whole subplot about, genetic engineering, whatever. Turns out the scientist that is brought in to help, living in fucking wherever, Missouri, is the same little girl.
Is Ramon's
mom. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, okay, that is the most forced plot point I've ever seen, but I'm going to let it go.
I saw it
This
coming.
movie's great.
I was like, I knew, I'm like, this is going to be the little girl, or the little girl's going to come in at the end, and she's going to, somehow talk to the alligator and save it or something.
You know that she never meets the alligator
Not
in
once.
the entire film?
Not once.
I thought
And
it was
it's like, I
fucking
thought that
awesome.
was weird. Like, I was like, oh, they didn't have that. Mom?
And
Ramon?
Ramon is the name of the alligator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's why I put it on there.
It
Because
was malfunction a lot, too, just like Jaws.
Yeah, so they did a couple things where it's like they had a functioning robot, which in some scenes you see it. It's noticeable. Like there's a scene later on, like when him and the cop that goes down in the sewer. The cop comes up in a very, I'm assuming this is how Scott would do it, comes up, grabs the guy in the ass and scares him. I'm surprised that guy didn't get shot.
That was awesome.
And he's like, haha, I'm funny. And then for a second, their flashlights are up. They're looking at the map. And in the background, you see the alligator robot being pulled across the scene. I don't even think it was supposed to be in the scene. And it was just like, oh my God, I love this movie.
Yeah, dude,
I was
it's so great.
sucked in on the campiness. It reminds me of if there was a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie, but it was too good to be featured. Like it was just enough to be good, but bad enough to not be an Oscar-winning movie. Like it was just such an in-between, but perfect movie for me. Like I loved every second.
I guess Forrester, he improvised all the jokes about his receding hairline.
Yeah.
It was all like...
It came up a lot.
It was, I guess...
Like, it was a plot
they
point
just
in itself.
Were able to do whatever they want. And Ramon went to the Florida Gators after this movie. Like, they used him as a mascot. The robot.
The robot.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, and then a kid dies in this film.
Okay,
which is
so
weird.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm watching this, and
So weird.
I'm sitting there watching this, and they're like, okay. In a lot of these movies, you can almost assume animals really aren't going to die, or you're not going to show it, and kids are kind of almost off limits. Nope, not on this one. Like these cowboys and Indians type birthday parties happening, and they take one of the kids to walk the plank. Okay, so they're pirates, so the kids dress up as a cowboy. They go walk the plank at night. Mom's not paying attention. They bring them onto the diving board, and they're like, we're going to walk the plank. Haha, we're going to throw you in the water. Someone turns on the pool light, and
Mom
there's
turns on the pool
there's
light.
the fucking alligator.
And he sees it.
And the little kid's like, oh, shit, no. They push him in anyway, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be like kind of like last night in X where she's swimming in the water, and the alligator's coming, and then just misses her. I thought it was going to be like that, and I'm like, oh, this kid can't die. There's no way they're going to kill. Nope. Gone. Immediately kills the kid. Blood everywhere in the water. And I'm like, this movie has everything. This movie has everything. Like, I can't believe they killed that kid like that. And then it's like, that's it. No one mentions it again. You don't see mom freaking out anywhere. You don't see panic. Kid just gone.
Yeah.
Bye, kid. Like it's the movie's full of these moments. Like, bye, guys. Kill the reporter. He's dead. Kill this guy. He's dead.
The reporter whole reporter thing. I thought the whole movie was going to be that guy. That reporter dies immediately, and I was totally cool with it.
He was the only reason he was.
He
was a dick.
Yeah, the only reason he was there was to
Lost
get everybody involved.
Well, he was trying to one up.
Seems to be becoming a habit.
He was trying to one up the main
Robert Forster's
character, and he goes into the sewer to get the scoop, and he got fucking scooped.
Got scooped. Got pooped.
I love that he gets kicked off the case though. Like, because
you rubbed the wrong people.
Yeah,
you're off the case. Give me your badge.
He's
like, give me your shield. You're off the case.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
What does he say though? He's like, well, you need to be thinking about his suspension or something. I'm like, what is going on?
Right,
here?
because this takes place in like. Not even St. Louis, Missouri, just like Joplin.
There's like a great scene where like a cop is reading the newspaper because he's just lost another partner, and he walks in and he hears him and he's like,
"Hey guys,
yeah, hey, I'm here," and he keeps reading it. And
he's
he
like,
opens it up.
He's like, that sucks. Anyway, this guy lost another partner. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, hey.
I just, it felt so like, I don't know, like 80s cop.
It was such a weird like subplot of this movie where it's like Robert Forster's character plays a cop that lives in this other city in St. Louis, probably like Springfield or another big part of the city, maybe even Kansas City at this point. And he used to be a cop in St. Louis, loses his partner. They don't really tell you why at first, but
He got
a lot
shot.
of people feel it was his fault, and there's that stigma. So he's with the new force. Everyone kind of is iffy on him. No one wants to go with him anywhere. Like, no one wanted to go down in the sewer with him, which probably was the best idea. And so he carries that around, and then later they explain that part of the story. But, like, that's kind of like almost this weird undercurrent driving part of this movie and why he gets kicked off the force and why no one wants to believe him about this alligator. And then like you said, the reporter goes down there and he gets eaten, but somehow they recover the camera and the film, and they guess what? There is an alligator. And knowing that it's down there, seeing that it's down there, they still kind of don't trust him. I'm like,
which is so fucking weird,
why?
but so 80s. So 80s.
Oh, we know it's there, but you still a dick.
You're too close to the case.
Get off the case, McGonagall. But yeah, I could not love this movie more. And it's like I always hate really enjoying something I picked only because I feel like I'm biased. I'm not. I would love this movie regardless. I love these types of movies. The 70s and 80s were very rampant with these kinds of things.
It's one of those movies you just sit down and watch any time, and I don't really think it's that bad. There was like I was trying to say earlier, there was a couple parts that were really like, ooh, like where it's the part where he's trying to blow up the alligator, and he's backing up, and you can just see him kind of inching. And that whole part, I'm like, dude, that's just a
they show the alligator in the distance, and you're like, oh, that's just a regular alligator. And then you see him running, and then you do the side shot of just the alligator.
Well, they're two different alligators. So the big alligator is very, very large and has
a big fat head.
Huge fat head, and it looks like just this giant alligator. When they show the live alligators, you could tell it's like a 2-year-old alligator.
What about what about the part where the kids are playing on the like stickball on the street, and then all of a sudden the alligator just bursts through the fucking sidewalk?
That was awesome.
I was like kicking the air and like pumping my fist, just like, this is great.
Very Jurassic Park moment.
Yeah, there was no reason for it, but it was great.
Also, there was a part where
I grabbed a butcher knife.
I really enjoyed. There's like a high society meeting at the end. And
it was a wedding.
Those two guys are there, and I don't really know what their relationship was. I had no idea what was going on with that. But they're like, he goes into the thing, the guy locks him out, and then his tail destroys the entire car.
Oh yeah, the force of the alligator's tail.
For reasons.
I mean, look like Robosaurus.
Yeah.
Fucking got done with the car.
It made no sense. He ate a couple of guests, and then he went right for the two people that were talking, and for no reason.
But that old man is such a dick because he locked that guy out with plenty of time to open that door.
Who was that guy?
The old man in the car was the guy who got the other Robert Forster's character kicked off the force because he runs the pharmaceutical company.
Right.
So the guy he locked out was the mayor, and they were lockstep in making sure that the plot moved forward.
So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I was very tired during X, and there was a couple big blinks during this movie, so I might have missed that. But it was so good, and I was so engaged that I was like, I cannot fall asleep while watching this. So I was like, I stood up a couple times to watch it.
There's a really funny scene that I'm just like, this is so fucking awkward. They're at the wedding, and the old man who gets crushed by the car is talking to a female guest. and he's telling this story, and the mayor is kind of just standing there. And the mayor is one of those like sycophants that's going to do everything to appease this guy. And so he's standing there, and the guy's telling the story, and then every now and then the mayor goes, "Oh yeah, uh-huh." And the guy turns and looks at him like, "Shut the fuck up, I'm telling a story." And then just goes back to telling a story, and the mayor goes, "Uh-huh, yeah." And he's like, just looking back at the mayor like, "Will you stop?" And then goes back to telling the story. So it's like, it's a weird dynamic for just like a brief moment that just made me laugh, because like I could see moments where like there's that guy who's just standing there like shouldn't be a part of the story, but he's just like, "Oh yeah, really? What happened next?"
Yeah.
And it's just like you look at him like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
I did like that gang wanted nothing to do with the alligator. They saw the Craven dude get eaten, and they were like, okay, let's
They're like,
go.
"We're out."
Yeah, but
$10 a day.
they weren't
isn't
even
enough.
scared of him. They were just like, okay, we got to go. Like, Craven guy got eaten, but whatever, we got to go.
Right.
So I just enjoyed that whole thing.
This was peak 80s for me. Like this
yeah, it
is
was
just
good.
I loved it. It's so dumb.
What did you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 4. Like I'm gonna rewatch it today. Like I'll go home and watch it just to kind of get back into it a little bit. I like that little world that they developed. Like it just felt very campy, very 80s, and I really enjoy a lot of those things. It's the same, when I'm watching Invasion USA. I have an affinity for canon films, and for me, I felt very invested in this very terrible 80s story. Same with this one. Like I was just way into it, and I loved it.
What about you, Scott?
This probably goes into that realm where, like he was saying, I put it with Invasion USA, maybe like Return of the Living Dead. It's a fun watch, and it is campy, and I mean you can kind of laugh about it. It was a 3.5 for me.
I would want to see this in a theater with an audience.
Oh,
like,
if
this
they
is
ever
something I would
put this
wanna go to
out
the
like at
New Bev.
Majestic or New Bev or anywhere,
They just did it for his birthday. They did a double feature with Alligator and something else. It wasn't Jackie Brown.
Because I know they make these types of movies now where it's like Titan Boa or Three-Headed Shark, and like they're just bad.
It
But
might have been Walking the Edge. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just trying to think.
But they remember back in the 80s, like killer bees were big, so like everyone made a killer bee movie, and like giant boas. Like there was a movie called Python, I think there was a snake movie, and I might be wrong. I'll look it up, with like Lance Henriksen, where he's starting to turn into like a snake. And it was a lot of those types of movies where I think it was big on genetic testing. And it's the same with Return of the Living Dead, where it's like, acid rain, we're doing all these genetic tests and chemicals, and that was the big thing. If it wasn't the Russian threat, it's weird now.
Well, one of my favorite movies growing up was actually, but you don't get the giant monster out of it,
Right.
but was Piranha.
Yes.
I mean,
that's
because you think to yourself, because they would always show like the legs dangling in the water, or and it was always that like, oh fuck, man, they're gonna get eaten.
And it goes along with the jawsploitation. Like
Yep.
before that, there wasn't really a ton of those, and now it's you see that. You're right. You see that weird coming up from the water shot. And oh my god, there's the feet,
That guy,
and the
when they
cameraman's
were on the
way too
boat.
close. You're like, oh shit.
That guy
Oh,
that was on
dude-
the boat lost both
of his legs.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I didn't know if that was from the propeller blade.
No,
Did
that
you
he got
see
eaten.
it swing? I know he
Yeah,
did, but
it
did
was-
you see his legs swinging into the propeller?
Yeah.
I was laughing.
It's so good.
Anyways, I also gave it a 4. I love this movie. This is one that I will revisit, and I'm super glad I own. I absolutely fucking loved it. Like I said, I'd love to see it played with an audience. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking out a lot of the movies we talked about this week. What are you doing? Just out of curiosity,
What are you
because that
picking?
is so distracting.
Looking up snake
Oh.
movies. I'm sorry that any movement in your
No.
eye line can
Dude,
make you
put
stop.
the phone up like right here, like right in the middle of the table. You're like, all right. It almost looks like you're filming me. Yeah. So,
Anaconda.
what movie
Oh God, please do.
will you? I have the box set right there. I've never seen it. I've seen the first one. I have seen the first one.
I was gonna say, I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
never
No, the
seen
rest
Anaconda.
of them. The rest of them I have not seen.
My Anaconda.
So, Scott, it's your turn to pick before we move on to Snack Show and Better Things. What is your pick this next? No, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, what's your pick when you get skipped?
It was your offer. I offered you two
I did.
shows.
I
Watching
did offer
my
it.
dog skip.
I did offer it. Yes. Oh, that movie makes me fucking cry. I fucking hate
Every
that.
dog
Oh
movie makes
Jesus,
me
dude.
cry.
That movie at the
Oh,
end.
you watched Dog, by
makes
the way.
me cry.
Let me bring that up.
Oh, fuck. I did watch Dog. That movie rules. Please watch it. It is about a soldier who has horrible PTSD, who has to take a dog back to a funeral, and they kind of wind up bonding because the dog also has horrible PTSD. Hilarity ensues, but it's so sweet, and there were so many tears. Directed by Channing Tatum.
Was it directed by him?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good film. I don't care what anybody says. Let's argue. Let's
I'll
argue
watch it.
about dog. All right. Anyways,
And
Scott.
back to me.
Okay.
So I've been throwing around movies all week because I wanted to kind of tap into a genre that, we haven't done.
Right.
So I know I kind of threw some movies at you guys, and I know that you haven't seen them, and I've kind of made a little bit of an audible here. I've called an Omaha at the line. I'm going to dive into the year of 1981. We're going to go with a fantasy adventure film. This is a Paramount Walt Disney production. So this is a movie that was in what's considered the dark days of Disney. This is Dragon Slayer.
I have been witness to something of consequence to you.
To me?
There's a great task needing to be done.
No doubt you've heard of our trouble at home.
A dragon, fire and stench. It is evil. Pure and simple.
You want me to do battle with that?
Behold, for I am chosen, I shall die that many may live.
Twice each year, the king selects a new victim. Chosen by lot. Girls, virgins.
Your king made a pact with a monster.
But your children were dying.
Only a few. Does that sound cruel?
Blacksmith, have you ever forged a weapon?
An edge like no other on this earth.
Dragon Slayer. Coming from Paramount Pictures.
Way to go, Scott. No one knows what that is.
Wow. Jeez.
I wonder if it's on Disney Plus.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I think it was produced, like distributed by Disney back in '81.
It's got an
What'd you say,
82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that the one with Peter McNichol?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I've seen the trailer. Yes. I know of it. I've never seen it.
Never even heard of it.
This is one of those because I was looking at fantasy films and I'm like looking up lists and hey, what fantasy films do people consider some of the best fantasy films? And this is always on there in the top, probably top 5 usually of fantasy film lists.
I was gonna say,
because most of them we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the Conans, we've seen, the Never-Ending Stories, we've seen stuff like that. I just thought this is something that is completely out of the realm that, it's kind of the stepping stone to, the Lord of the Rings and the Game of Thrones.
I think a lot of fantasy movies, especially in the 80s, definitely visited the, dragons or wizards or things like that, where you got, you had your Excaliburs, you had your, I think, Sword and Sorcery or something like that. Then there was this movie, they did Legend, a lot of Arthurian legend type movies. But yeah, I've always kind of wanted to watch this. I never get around to it. It does feel very 80s when you watch the trailer, but that could be a benefit to it because then they don't rely so much. Like you might see the rotoscoped weirdness where it's like, oh, look, he's not in that room.
The dragon is very Game of Thrones.
For sure.
I can't wait for Scott to be like, I've seen a million movies like this since then, so fuck this movie, like he always says about everything.
So bitter.
No, so bitter. I'll watch it. Where can we find it?
Fucking who knows?
Oh, great.
You don't own it?
I'm gonna pirate it.
I've never even heard of it.
I can't believe you never heard of this. Like I said, I knew about it and I've grown up seeing things about it. I just never got around to watching it. Like I've seen Legend, I've seen those other types of movies.
1981 was like a big year for fantasy films. It was kind of when everything came out.
I'm looking at Letterboxd and only 876 people have seen this film on Letterboxd. So I'm assuming it's not easy. I guess you can watch it on YouTube. Okay, that's fine.
Well, one of my I can't say favorite movies, but a movie that I really hold close to my heart that a lot of people, have either never heard of, never seen or shit on because it's not good, is Krull. And I love that movie because it's got that guy, he's got that like 5-point star thing that flies around called the glaive, and he's like throws it and like blades come out of it and kills things. I think it was one of Liam Neeson's first movies, and it's got a Cyclops in it. Like, I love those fantasy movies that are just super 80s and super cheesy.
Will you get Krull tattooed on you because it's all you ever talk about?
That's like the first time I've heard it mentioned.
He talks about it to me.
I brought it up earlier today.
You brought it up like a couple months ago, a couple years ago now, and now you're bringing it up today.
So anyway, I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and
didn't we all? Didn't we all? Did you cry?
No.
So I was looking at the breakdown on on Google when I googled this film. IMDb has a better breakdown of this. As a young wizarding apprentice is sent to kill a dragon which has been devouring girls from a nearby kingdom. Fuck yeah.
I mean, straightforward like knights and wizards and shit like that. Like,
is it close enough to Krull for you? Because I don't want you to have to bring it up.
No, Emily Krull. Like 2 people know that one.
That's funny.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, Krull, look at that. Beastmaster. I'll watch both of those tonight.
Excalibur,
Beastmaster.
Lady
I love
Hawk,
Beastmaster.
the Last Starfighter.
Lady Hawk, that's the one I was going to bring up. That's another one of those like fantasy movies with who was it? It's got
let's see.
Yeah, who was in that one?
Tired boy.
Boring him.
No,
Matthew Broderick's
Matthew Broderick and
Roger Auer. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Remember, she turns into like a hawk. That's what I think. Rutger Hauer.
No, I don't remember because I've never seen it.
But the soundtrack is very weird because it's a fantasy movie, but it's very synth heavy, like fantasy. It's weird. Yes, they put the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack over Lady Hawk.
Scott's next movie is Dragon Slayer, so we'll have that in 2 weeks. As a reminder, next week we are doing the Oscar show. How this is going to work is we're just going to go through and pick who we think are going to win, and then it should be fun. We'll be talking about
all
a lot
our
of
favorite
these
actors.
movies.
Name Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac. The end.
I was going to say I think that weekend we'll have the first episode of Moonlight out.
Oh,
because it comes out at the end of this month. So yeah, we will talk about it.
Okay. Well, on the Scott show, we'll talk about it.
Oscar Isaac was in an Oscar-winning movie, or at least an Oscar-nominated movie.
He was in Annihilation, which I think is one of the most underrated.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Great films of all time. But anyways, have you seen Annihilation?
Yes, and I've read the book too.
Oh, Jesus. Is it?
The book's way better.
You want to talk about Krull or? Anyways.
So Liam Neeson gets killed kind of later in the movie, but it's so good. And there's a Cyclops, and it's so makeup heavy. And a Spider-Woman. It was really good. I'll give you the whole plot.
Anyway, so we'll see you next week for the Oscar show.
Here it comes.
What?
Big gulps, huh?
Yeah. As always, I haven't been really hammering this, but guys, please follow along on our social media. You can check us out on Watch It Later Pod at Instagram. Jordan does a lot of stuff over there. Our Facebook, where you can actually listen to the show. Check us out on Facebook, Watch It Later Pod. If you want to interact with us, I'm Aaron Williams on Facebook, Scott Leamy, Jordan Corbusier. I don't know.
It's Jinx Ronan.
Yeah, or Jinx Ronan. Whatever you want to put on there. Just
at me.
Send me a fucking message. Like, let's argue. I don't care. We'll definitely talk about it on the air.
He'll argue.
Just a little
Trust me, it's fun. Argue with him.
Just a lot more fan interaction would be nice. It'd be nice to see that you guys are actually, because I get these messages all the time. Oh, I'm listening to the show. Well, cool. Write in. Let's talk.
It's easier to listen than to engage. Like, I'll give you that. I've done that a million times where I listen to something, really enjoy it. There's no chance I want to tweet out something to the
But
I
just want to
fuck that. I don't need to be.
I just
involved.
want to really hammer it home that we do have social medias. We are engaged in our social media presence. So just, yeah. Is that you, Scott?
Oh my
God
it is.
damn. It's not like we're doing a show or
Put in
anything.
the books.
It's a good thing the producer can edit that out with nobody hearing it.
So we'll see you guys back
goes off the
here
rails.
next week. As always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Jordan.
And Scott.
Well, big gulps, huh? See you later. I think I fucked that up. Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
You guys want to hear an annoying noise?
Oh, shit.